Welcome back to another episode of the Green Cards to Greenbacks podcast. I am so excited to have this discussion with you today. Social media influencers, seem to live an amazing, glamorous life. And, some can make a really great living, especially those who get to travel, right? But there's another side to that glamour that we don't get to hear. And that's why I'm bringing Jen Ruiz, who has over 250,000 followers on TikTok and who happens to be a travel writer and influencer to tell us all about it. She's going to tell us why she decided to give up her lawyer career to become a travel writer and influencer. We're going to talk about the glamorous life of a social media influencer writer and also not the so glamorous sides of them, so we can get a really true understanding of what that life is like. And we're also going to talk about how we can make our own financial security with digital assets, social media, doing the things that we want to do. And really, we're going to talk about a lot more. So Jen, bienvenida. Welcome to the Green Cards to Greenbacks podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I am so excited. No, thank you for taking the time. I know we've been trying to get together for a while, but you happen to be traveling throughout the world and obviously makes a difference. So thanks for taking the time. So give us a quick summary of what led you to what you are doing today.
Sure. Well, thank you already for the great introduction. I did used to practice law many years now ago, it seems like, about 5 years to be exact. I was an attorney and I decided that I wanted a creative outlet. So I started a blog on the side. I started contributing to big media outlets and got my first official travel writing assignment because I was found when one of those articles went viral. So an editor reached out to me and asked me to write for their travel vertical. It wasn't very much, but it was my first time getting paid to write about travel. And then as a result, getting comped travel with a lot of these places when they saw that I had a writing assignment. And so I ended up doing a travel challenge, self-publishing my own book, monetizing my own website, and I was able to transition from practicing law to now being a full-time travel writer and content creator.
Oh man, I love that. There was so much you just told us that I want to unpack this a little bit because you've already said something. I'm like, what? So your travel got comped once those outlets realized that you were on a writing assignment. What does that mean?
So when you're a travel writer, a lot of times destinations will post you in exchange for coverage. So some outlets will assign, an assignment ahead of time. So you can reach out to the media team and say, hey, I'm on assignment for X and Y vertical, this magazine or this online website, whatever the case may be, that they're hiring you to write an article about a destination. And then you'll get hosted, and then you'll get shown around and you'll have accommodations as a part of a press visit.
Love it. Love it. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So look, being a lawyer, getting there, it's hard work, right? You go through regular college and then you got to go through law school. And then I don't know if it's the same thing in Puerto Rico, but then you got to pass the bar here in the United States. It's a whole deal. So walk us through what was going on in that phase of your career and that ultimately made you look for a creative outlet. What was happening?
Yeah, well, I definitely was in the U.S. and I was barred in Maryland and Florida. So I very much remember the trauma of having to go through a full bar exam prep. And I've also often thought, why would I take on this much student loan, put in this much time just to end up not practicing law? So it's definitely been something that has crossed my mind. But I realized, I think the turning point for me where I really realized that I wasn't in the right career was that for law conferences, I always got there late, to whatever session it was. I sat in the back, I was browsing the internet and doing other things, And then when I went to my first travel conference, I got there early. I sat in the front. I was really excited, taking notes, wanting to speak to the people afterwards. And I thought to myself, is this what it's supposed to be like? Am I supposed to be excited about the things that I'm doing? Because I enjoyed learning, about Pinterest marketing. I enjoyed learning about how to edit photos. I enjoyed learning about all these sessions that were at this travel conference. So even though it was business related, I felt really engaged. And I didn't feel that when I was practicing law. It was a very gratifying profession in that it's always nice to be in the courtroom. It's thrilling. You get the sense of victory when you win a case. And that was great, but it wasn't the same kind of just genuine enthusiasm, like waking up and wanting to do this like it was for the travel profession, for working on my blog, for building my own things, for figuring out, how do I self-publish a book? I just realized I felt so much passion about it that I could do it in the off hours, at night when I got home, in the morning before work. I could do all of these things to build my own businesses on the side.
Yeah, I totally get it. Being able to create something that you have the passion for is really, really rewarding. And it's also very difficult. I don't think people understand how much work goes even into a 30-second, 60-second reel or video. I say it because I'm doing it now and I've been doing it for 7 months and it's hard work. So you got to have the passion to absolutely get there. Okay, so that makes sense. Why travel? Like I always say, you could be an influencer, like law influencer, right? There's so many ways we can use our talents to monetize them. What led you to travel?
Absolutely. So travel was just something that for me, I actually enjoyed the same skill set that I had in law, storytelling and being able to, showcase and tell people about something that they did not know about. And so with traveling, I was able to highlight people from around the world. I felt really inspired every time I went and I did this kind of work. And I just felt livened up about it in a way that I didn't about law. When I was sitting in my office, I guess a cozy enough office, but just surrounded by degrees and doing the same kind of thing, I didn't really feel invigorated by the profession. And even in my worst moments of traveling, when everything's gone wrong, I still never regretted a trip. I was still there, happy that I had taken that initiative, that step, that I'd seen something new. I knew I never regretted those memories. And so for me, travel just is fulfilling in a way that nothing else is. And it encompasses so many things. It encompasses food, and encompasses connection, and encompasses learning, and invigorating your mind. It's just a way to really, I think, treat yourself and enhance yourself. And that's why I chose to make it my career.
Yeah, it makes sense. What was your undergrad in college?
It was political science with a minor in English.
Yes. A lot of my lawyer friends that I went to school with ended up doing an English thing, and I never got it. I was like, why? Why? You're going to be a lawyer. Now it makes sense, right? You got to learn how to write. You got to learn how to storytell. You got to learn all of that to be able to convince an audience of your points. It's just so interesting. Alrighty. Well, thanks for letting me know kind of what led you there down that path. Tell us a little bit more about what is a life like for a influencer, writer, travel person?
So full-time life is definitely good and bad. I guess you could say the same thing about any sort of solopreneurship when you're starting out. It's up to you how much you get done. So you have to be very well regimented, especially if you're going to be outsourcing, hiring people, that kind of thing. But for the most part, you are going to be constantly working on your business. So that includes drafting different posts. It includes researching and pitching constantly. It includes planning trips, going on trips, getting content from trips, editing, posting. It includes working on your own craft and business. So networking, going to conferences, pitching yourself for different opportunities, pitching yourself for different awards. So it's going to be a constant work list, and you have to be somebody that's okay with okay, today's my pitching day. I'm going to pitch brands to see if any of them want to work with me. I'm going to pitch articles to see if any of them want to assign me a commission. And I'm going to respond to people who have pitched me in my inbox. That's what I'm going to do today. And you could say today is my content creation day. So today I'm going to create, this many TikTok videos, this many stories. I'm going to make sure that I have these captions and everything set and ready to go. I'm going to work on that today. And so it's up to you how you organize yourself. But as long as you are covering all those bases, because it really is such a one-man team of so many different skill sets, from editing to marketing to just general logistics, planning, design. So there's a lot that goes into it. And that's, I think, why I find it so fascinating, because I love the constant challenge. And I think a lot of creative people are like that.
Yes, absolutely. It is absolutely a constant challenge, not only to come up with ideas for content, but then to execute on them. And then when it's executed, to be able to distribute that content. There's absolutely a lot of work. So when I think about it, like a travel influencer writer, I mean, I don't even know what to call you. I'm calling you both because in my mind, you're both. What is that? Not like the content creation, but what is that life like? Like you walk into a hotel, they obviously want to give you the VIP treatment if they know that you're there on assignment. Like tell us about that life. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's really nuts because you'll usually get out and there'll be somebody waiting with a sign and your name on it. And you'll have this like private transportation to the hotel. Everything's taken care of. Usually you get into the room and there's something to greet you there, like some kind of chocolate dipped strawberries or special like champagne or something like that. And then you have, people that are coming by throughout the trip to greet you. Like you can meet the chef or here's the person that's the manager of the hotel. And people all want to converse with you and welcome you and show you what they have to offer. You'll maybe sometimes get special decorations or things like that. And yeah, it's just really lovely. It's definitely pressure, which means you can't just be going around sloppy or drinking or having, a good old time or deciding you don't want to go to things, sleeping in late. Like that doesn't really apply on first trips. You're there to work. So yes, you're enjoying it, but you're also enjoying it on a regimented schedule that they've already planned out for you. And you have to really show up and be present and represent yourself in a professional way to be invited back because the scene is small and people tough.
Ah, I get it. See, I definitely was greeted by someone with a sign with my name and my wife's name. The only difference is that I had to pay for it. Yeah, we went to our honeymoon in China and we contracted a private tour guide, but that's awesome. It is interesting though, because, as a consumer, you see the glamour, but you're telling us that is really regimented. You're working. And so there's also a little bit of, like you can't really, like you said, lay back, have a bunch of beers, maybe get sloppy one night because you want to let some stress out. You gotta be on point, which is really interesting. What are the main ways to create income in your field?
In the travel writing field specifically, or in all the different ways that I create income?
Let's talk about you. Yeah, like what are the different ways you create income and find financial security?
So definitely taking that core skill set of writing and monetizing it across different platforms. So first I have freelance travel writing where I get paid to submit my articles and write content for these media outlets, most of them digital because the publishing space is mainly digital now. That's where it's strongly leaning towards. Another aspect are the book royalties that I have from my self-published books and the book deal that I have from my traditionally published memoir that's coming out in 2024. So that's very exciting. And it's where I get a book advance. So with regards to book writing, that's a whole other category of income, both that one-time advance that's split into two payments and those monthly book royalties that I get from already published books. Then I also have writing for my blog. So the blog is primarily written, that's what's monetized through ads. I'm part of the Mediavine Publisher Network and they place ads on my site and then I get paid per impression that comes to my site. So that pays me monthly as well. And that's for writing articles that answer questions that people are looking for on the internet. So, what are some of the top things to do in this location? Best restaurants in this location, a review of this hotel, whatever the case may be. And then the more articles that you write, the more impressions that you get, ideally the more money that you make and the more that you can monetize. And this applies to any website for anybody who wants to write about food, who wants to write about culture, who wants to write about, really anything, mechanics, how to fix particular cars, anything that you're good at that you care about, you can make a website about and monetize. There's a lady who makes buku bucks talking about raising chickens and eggs. Because apparently she has really valuable information on the topic and it is globally applicable. People around the world love chicken. So she does really well. And so it's really don't limit yourself here and know that you can do that with articles that you write and update over time. But it's really more of a passive income stream because it's something you do once and then monetize monthly once you reach a certain threshold of viewers. So those are some of the ways that I monetize my writing.
Okay, so writing seems to be the main skill set that you're monetizing with your take on travel. Are there travel influencers that are making money just by traveling and not having to write, or is writing like the main thing that really is monetized?
Those are some of the ways that I monetize because I love writing and I consider myself a writer. But I also monetize through content creation, which is video editing, photo editing, actually documenting the places that you're going to, and then promoting those places on your own site and channels. Or, not even going somewhere, but talking about services like travel insurance or a particular luggage set, things like that that are travel related that you can promote through your video content. And yes, you can get paid for brand partnerships that are very lucrative.
Okay, so that's also another avenue to be able to monetize that skill set or that passion for someone.
I would say for that particular one, you can monetize with brand partnerships directly with a brand that's endorsing you, getting paid per view of your content. This is less so, particularly for TikTok, but for YouTube, it can be substantial if you're somebody that's getting good views and traction. And then affiliate links for the content that you're promoting if those videos that you create lead to purchases in your audience. So those are 3 different ways that you can monetize 3 different income streams from your video content.
Yes. We have a friend of ours who we went to college with. She was a nurse, gave up the nursing thing and started blogging, or not blogging, but like social media influencing on clothes. And then the way she would monetize a lot of that was because she would have an affiliate link and all of the good stuff. So, always see if people are listening to this and they're like, oh man, like if this sounds really exciting, I can write, I can travel. Yes, it's going to be work, but it sounds really enticing. Tell us about some of the obstacles that you or any other writer or influencer in your space faces so our audience kind of knows the full picture.
Yeah, I think there is no magic button. You have to put in work to get to know the community, to send a big number of pitches, to start building your audience. Like it's done that people go from 0 to 1 million overnight, that people go from 0 to New York Times travel section overnight. It can happen, but that's the exception, not the norm. And really, for the most part, if you're going to be doing this, you have to be prepared to stumble along the way, to have it be a long haul thing, and to actually put in the work. You can't just send in one pitch and say, oh, Nat Geo didn't want to publish me, so I guess that's that. You have to pitch Nat Geo 1 million different times. You have to constantly be on there doing your research about what it is that they're publishing. You have to be looking for unique story angles. You have to be going to try to meet editors somewhere. You have to be actively working to get these assignments. Same thing for the brand partnerships. You have to be out there delivering on your past brand partnerships so that you have a good portfolio built up. You have to be out there pitching and meeting the PR reps at different conferences. Like this is not just a passive sit back, do nothing, everything comes to you situation. You have to go out there and hustle, especially the more people that get into the space. There has to be something that differentiates you. So maybe you're somebody that's niched down to a particular location. Maybe you're somebody who's really good at photo editing and you provide amazing high resolution images that people can use in their brochures and in their digital marketing with licensing rights. So you have to really decide how it is that you market yourself when you're going forward and understand that it's not just, hi, I'm here, I'd like free things, and that it's actually a business, and that you shouldn't, at one point, you will not even be going for free things because that's not enhancing your business. Like you want to get paid for the work that you do. That is the goal. But to do that, you have to be taken seriously.
Yeah, Jen, absolutely. It's hard work, it's dedication, it's working on your craft, all things entrepreneur. Like if you're going into this, there's always 3 different people that need to be present. There needs to be an entrepreneur, there needs to be a business manager, and there needs to be a technician. The technician is the person that has the skill. The business manager is obviously managing the business, and the entrepreneur is thinking about how to grow that business and how to market the business. So it definitely is something that is much broader than just taking pictures and going on travel, which makes a lot of sense. How do people get started, Jen? How can you help people if they want to go down this path?
So I'd say decide which path it is that you want to go down. So if you want to go down the travel writer path, specifically, you want to write for big publications, you want to be somebody that's freelancing, whether that's side hustle, to start with, because maybe you want to do this and see if it can take off first before you go nuts and quit your job. Totally reasonable. So travel writing is a really great thing to start as a side hustle because you can get assigned one article here or there, depending on the idea that you're pitching. I would say start with something local to you because you're already the expert of where you live. And maybe where you live has something cool going on. So maybe you want to talk about all the new street art sections in Fort Lauderdale, or you want to talk about the best taco trucks in LA, whatever it is that you want to highlight about where you live, find the right places to pitch your idea to. And then eventually somebody will want to work with you on that. Somebody will want to give you a chance if you can pitch your expertise correctly. And then you can start building your portfolio and start asking for more money as you become a more established writer. And you really get as much as you pitch. So if you only want to get, one story, then that's the only story you're pitching until an outlet accepts it, and then you're done. You don't pitch anymore, but you're also somebody that can do that full time if you wanted to ramp that up. Otherwise, you can do something like starting your own social media channels, also understanding that that may take a little longer to monetize, but your goal always is to provide value so that people have a reason to follow you. And then if you have a community that is dedicated, that is niche, that knows you as an expert in a particular topic, region, location, style of travel, then you will be able to monetize that audience into partnerships even early on. Even without, 100,000 followers, you can still make brand content. You can still show your value because you're somebody that people go to as a reference and as an expert.
I love that. Those are amazing, amazing tips. I love the be local, start there, make it easy, and then develop the skill sets. Are there any courses, conferences, for anything like that you recommend?
Yeah, so I think one of the best ways to actually get your first press trip, either if you're somebody who wants to be a travel writer or a blogger, an influencer, is to go to these conferences. My first conference was TBEX, Travel Bloggers Exchange. But when you go to the TBEX conference, you can apply for press trips as part of your ticket, and you'll either get day trips or, 3 to 4 day trips around wherever the conference is being hosted, where you'll get to experience what it's like to be on a press trip. You'll have an itinerary for 2 to 3 days. You'll have these nice restaurants that they're taking you to, all of your transport, hotel provided, and you'll really just get to meet other people in the industry and get content that you can then put together in a blog post, make a social media post about, try to pitch an article about, start building your expertise by having gone and seen these places that they're showing you around VIP to, and then go from there. And then also taking advantage to get to know people at the conference, get to know editors that are there, get to know brands that are there, because there's feed networking with brands, so you can pitch partnerships right there at the conference. So TBEX is a great conference. The Women in Travel Summit, that's coming up now in May in Puerto Rico, but it's held annually both in the US and in Europe. You have IMM, International Media Marketplace, that's for travel journalists. So if you're somebody who has had a few bylines already in a travel space, you can apply for that, and then they have professional membership like North American Travel Journalists Association and Society of American Travel Writers, that all of these have their own conferences, they have awards, they have committees. So there's a lot of ways that you can get involved there.
I love that. Those are amazing, amazing ways to get involved. Definitely go to a conference. It's life-changing. I went to my first financial blogging conference last year, and I'm a totally different person now because of it, and I love it. Jen, how do we buy books, your books? How do we stay up to speed with your amazing content that you're putting out?
Yes, so you can follow me at Jen on a jet plane, like leaving on a jet plane, on all different social media channels, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter. I'm around. You'll find me as the same handle on all of them. And you can find my books on Amazon under my author name, Jen Ruiz.
Awesome, Jen. Is there anything else that you want to tell us before we end this amazing show?
Just to be on the lookout for my 12 Trips in 12 Months memoir that is going to be coming out. Hopefully it'll inspire you to infuse your life with a little more travel, adventure, and who knows, a little unknown magic. So
I love it. I love it. I'm definitely going to get it. Jen, thank you so much for your time and being here. I love all the information that you share with us. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bueno pues. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I want to go ahead and ask you to please send me any questions you may have or any topics you want me to talk about. Go ahead and send them to Nestor, Nestor, at greencardstogreenbacks.com. I actually read every email you send, so I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to head over to greencardstogreenbacks.com for the show notes for this episode, and really links to any resources we may have discussed. Bueno, amigos y amigas, nos vemos pronto. Let's go make those greenbacks.